Hello and welcome back. And today we are going to be doing a Let Us Discuss topic on soundtracks, uh, both original soundtracks, OSTs, and music froms and inspired bys, which at some point in this script I do tend to shorten down because it's just a long fucking thing to say. Apologies. So, movies and music. Two of the biggest and best art forms, in my opinion. And a movie or a TV show as well, without a good score or, opening credits music, can really impact everything going forward. And from listening to iconic movie themes in preparation for this, I found a playlist of like 300 different ones, ranging from The Hobbit to Pirates of the Caribbean to The Last Samurai, Kill Bill, Mulan, Jurassic Park, Superman. There was every sort of film you could think of. Um, we have to thank one massive name who has definitely solidified themselves as a greatest of all time when it comes to the music and movies of no music of movies landscape, which is, he's just a greatest of all time, and that is the one and only Hans Zimmer. Each composition he creates for a movie is like a ride you enjoy being on, be it for a somber slow song that's playing loosely in the background, or if it's one of his many sweeping atmospheric numbers. The guy nails everything he is tasked with, and he's definitely one of the main names that I always recognize when I'm seeing like credits roll and I see music by Hans Zimmer. I'm like, that explains a lot. um but movies and TV aren't the only things needing tunes as well. We're gonna digress off the path here a little bit because video games also branch into here as well. Um, for those that are curious, two of my favourite video game soundtracks that I used to listen to rather frequently: Resident Evil. Try that again. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Love that soundtrack. And even though I've never been able to play it because I don't own a PlayStation, The Last of Us 2 soundtrack. Phenomenal. But like I said, I digress. Back to films. I love some of like my favourites here that I own in a physical format. The Harry Potter soundtracks, I own most of them. Lord of the Rings, I own one of their soundtracks on CD. Even though I don't like the Lord of the Rings movies, I still enjoy the grand sense of the music and the adventurousness that it kind of vibe that it has. And as well, the soundtrack from the war TV show Band of Brothers. You know, these few alone have a very sweeping style of different tones and tunes and styles. Because, like I said, you've got the like Harry Potter one where everything's a bit more whimsical and magical, where a lot of it tends to somehow incorporate the Harry Potter main theme into the composition. Then you've got Lord of the Rings where it's more grandiose, more adventurous, more, you know, fantasy-esque compared to the fantasy of the wizardry world. Then you've got the Band of Brothers, which is a bit more tense and, you know, a bit more fitting for that war atmosphere. But then with that, you go on to see some films that use mostly original musics, and a lot when I could think of it was one in particular that I have on CD is the Iron Man 2 soundtrack, which is comprised entirely of AC/DC songs. Um, and it basically acts as AC/DC's best of album. So, yeah. Um, Another one is Fast and the Furious. They always curate a nice little album to go with each movie that they put out, which generally tends to span many genres from hip hop and R&B to a little bit of the Latino vibes thrown in there. You've got a bit more poppy stuff, a bit more dancey bits here and there. Yeah, and like I say, I think I own most of the soundtracks from maybe 1 to 9. I don't know if I have the album 10. As well as this, they do also obviously do their own music. I think one of the OSTs that I used to listen to for Fast and Furious was Tokyo Drift, where one standout track on that for me was called Mustang Nismo, and it featured Slash, the guitarist. Yeah, very good track. No, it's nothing, fancy. It's just one of those ones where you can like it plays in the background and it feels like a movie song, But also, when I was back in school many years ago, I used to have the music from and inspired by CDs of two albums in particular, or two movies in particular, I should say. 8 Mile by Eminem, which I have to this day owned 3 copies of. My first copy got so worn out I had to buy a second one. The second one I bought was second hand and didn't work, and the third one was brand new and worked. And the other one is 50 Cent's Get Rich and Die Trying. And I can't help but feel like these are a little bit of a lost form of media. They don't seem to be anywhere near as popular or done at all. Like most big films used to get a MFAIB and an OST, like physical format, but now you're lucky to find just the OST in a physical format, even though most places do generally tend to have it on hand on a streaming site like your Spotify's, your Amazon Music's, what have you. And I'm a sucker for physical format media, like especially music and DVDs. Like, I have a collection of my own records, and I have some that my parents have given me to use. One of them being a movie soundtrack, which is the opening theme song to the original Ghostbusters movie on a little small vinyl disc, and that shit ain't done nowhere near enough nowadays. And I'll tell you what, there's a couple other like movie soundtracks that I've thought about getting on record because I could imagine they would sound so dope on that. But I tend to have more on CD format from when I was younger because that's just what I had. I didn't get my record player until probably about 2019, 2020. So, yeah. But with all this said, some soundtracks can tend to sound alike, but considering how old both art forms are, movies and music, and the culture in both of them, this is almost inevitable, I tend to think. But I suppose as long as it's not a blatant rip-off and you can tell they've not just straight used one song from, say, Batman in Barbie, I couldn't think of another movie that a Batman music song wouldn't work from. And it's like not a note for note the same, and it's maybe just like sampled and tweaked and built off of. and it suits the aesthetic, which is another reason why I said Batman and Barbie, because they're two very different, heavily different aesthetics. You've got, you know, man in a black mask beating the shit out of people, and a pink wearing blonde woman running around, you know, plastically. That's not even a fucking word, but you know. But with all that said as well, let me know in the comments what's some of your favourite movie soundtracks as well. I'll be interested to see what other people think. And as well, before we wrap this up, I haven't talked enough about TV music. So, especially opening themes where you only get a short segment of that, hour show to make an impact. So, let me list a few of my favourite ever TV opening soundtracks. My favourite of all time, Dexter. Fucking love that. Buffy as well has a very iconic opening theme song. Angel, very iconic. NCIS, iconic. The Sopranos has a very fitting soundtrack for their opening sequence. All three of the CSI shows, which use songs by The Who. And as well, I can't forget Bones, just to name a handful of some of the favourites that I have. Obviously, some of these are probably a little bit more iconic than others, especially, like I said, when you only get 30 seconds to probably a minute to make that impact. It can be tough to do, I could imagine. And then there's always like the one important question you have when you're making a soundtrack for a TV show and you've got to make the theme. Lyrics or no lyrics? Like Sopranos, CSI Las Vegas, Miami, and New York all have lyrics. Obviously, like I said, CSI, they use the Who songs, Won't Get Fooled Again, Baba O'Reilly, and what's the other one? I've forgotten the name of it. That's annoying. And the Sopranos one, I don't know what that's actually called, but they do have lyrics, and I think it might be called Get Yourself a Gun, or Got Myself a Gun. I know that's repeated a lot in it, but it fits the atmosphere of the Sopranos. It fits the long winding drive to the start of the show that they do, and it is apt for what it needed to be. And then on the other hand, where you've got the instrumental side, you've got Dexter, which is a more low-key instrumental. Buffy is kind of like this punk rock-esque thing with drums and guitars really in the forefront of it, and quite a fast pace to it. Whereas you've got Angel, where the violins take the center stage with the drums backing it up, for this more slow, somberish version, because obviously Angel, vampire, a bit more brooding, which makes sense. And then obviously you've got like NCS and Bones, which they tend to be more like techno, dancey-esque, shorter tracks that tend to eventually form into an earworm if you listen to them enough and really stick with you. And that's the all-important thing. If a soundtrack or a theme song or something from it sticks with you, sorry, I had an itch on the corner of my nose here. If it sticks with you, they've done their job. You remember it. It's iconic. There's something that from that has resonated within you, which will bring you back to listening to that or watching that. And I've just thought, as I'm saying this, there's another song from a TV show, my favourite TV show actually, other than Dexter, that I cannot believe I didn't give a shout out to here. The Sons of Anarchy opening theme song is a goddamn fucking amazing song, and I can't believe I forgot it. So we'll put that in here. But what say you? Let me know below again your favorite movie soundtracks, your favorite movie music from and inspired bys, if you have any, if you've owned any of them, and what are some of your favorite TV opening theme songs that have stuck with you from the years. They could be from your childhood, they could be, you know, like I said, like Dexter and stuff like that. Anything that resonated with you and you still listen to this day. Let me know below, because I'm genuinely curious what sort of things people remember from their media that they enjoy. Um, with that being said, I will see you again soon in the next video, which will be episode 27 of the 6-song roundup. And with that, there is only one thing left to say, and that is, stay safe out there, my friends. Goodbye.